really excited, and I think all of the high priority issues were fixed. So at least like the things that we saw there, there were like the most critical ones were solved, and we were rushing it to finish. Fabio and Pedro were doing a lot of things in the front end to get it done up to time. So we're having progress, and it's the same link that I just sent in the Params channel. So yeah, so everything's set up.
Perfect. I'm just gonna wait and I'm loving this song so much. I don't know if you guys have Chip completely muted, but it's a lovely day. You know, it's the beginning of the pram parties again. God, how much fun were those last round, right? I'm so excited that they're back. But I want to wait until the end of the song to really get started. Hey, Nugget. Thanks for all the back end work this round, man. You really stepped it up this week.
Hey guys. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I hope everything works as intended.
Did you end up getting the advanced params integrated into the deployment?
Yes, I think yes. I think everything should be in its place, but let's see.
Nice.
Yeah, like the all of that advanced parameters page, like it's not yet implemented. All of them, the toggle, it's static right now, but we're working on that.
Nice. No, yeah, and like I said that was a low pri issue, you know, like, but it's good that at least it's integrated into the back end, you know. Okay, well, let's get this party started. I did post an agenda in the Params call, and I want to start with an intro question to get everybody having some fun and speaking. What is one thing you hope to learn about parameterizing our commons today? And for me, I'm excited to learn about the Learn module and see how intuitive it is. I really don't trust. I've read through it, but it makes sense to me, but I don't know how it makes sense to other people. But yeah, so what is one thing you hope to learn about parameterizing our commons today? And I'll pass it to Wonka.
Yeah, this time is the first time I will be user testing the tool. So yeah, I am facing like yeah, excited to see and to interact with the tool. And yeah, that's it. I will pass to Libby.
Justin, what is one thing you hope to learn about? I would love to learn a little bit more about the bonding curve and how it works. And I'll pass to Victor.
Yeah, I think I want to learn how we can improve the dashboard actually from you guys. So I'll pass to Mitch.
Yeah, I'd really like to see how the bonding curve tool works. It's like a lot of stuff is added, so I'm excited to see. And we'll pass it to Tam.
I'm going to +1 on that. That's what I'm most excited about as well. And I'll pass to MS. Have you gone?
Yep, yeah, I'm here. I think so I'm actually going into the learning module tonight and tomorrow morning to provide feedback. I promised I would. And alongside of that, I'm always curious about bonding curves. But also just I think approaching it kind of fresh and new in general about the whole thing. And I will pass to Lauren, did you go?
No, I didn't go yet. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm most excited just to hear what everybody's opinions are and like what what is challenging for people, what's difficult to understand, and that always helps me understand things too. Sometimes I have the same questions that I just never thought to ask them. And I'll pass it to Zefti.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, my intention is learn, and my intention, I know it's not going to be in this 1 hour, but the biggest intention is to propose the best params possible from where I learn. So yeah, the intention is understand better everything. I really want to understand everything. I'll pass it to Nagen.
Yeah, I also want to see what people think and how people react to our work. And personally, I want to learn a bit more about the conviction voting stuff because I've not done that much research into it as compared to the bonding curve. And I'll pass to I don't know if somebody missing. Yeah. Well, Griff, did you say about yourself?
I did, but Mitch hasn't gone, I don't think, right, Mitch? He did?
I went
Oh,
already.
yeah. Okay. No, then I think we got everyone. So that's awesome. Conviction voting and mostly bonding curves. That's really exciting. So that'll be cool. And amazing swag, MS. Love it. Nice.
Yeah, it came in today, so it was like I'm hopping into the Params party. I have to put it on. So
Wow. Praise to Ivy for making that turnaround. That was pretty fast.
yeah, it was crazy fast. It was like super, super fast.
Ivy, what a rock star. Okay, so step one is read the learn module. So if you guys can open the dashboard, and the dashboard is super pretty, of course, right? Oh, token engineering enters its next phase. How cute. Oh, thank gosh. Look, we did it. What's next? Our economy, our choice. Collaborative economics. For the first time ever, a community is designing their own bonding curve. That's pretty cool, right? So there's these 4 different modules, right? And each one has specific requirements. Like your goal is working with each module is to use the tool there to understand how long decide yourself and design yourself how you think the economy should be structured. So module 1, this is like the vesting module, right? And determining the opening price in the bonding curve. Module 2 is the augmented bonding curve. It's the economic engine of our DAO. Number 3 is DAO voting, which is the overall decision-making process for changing the structure itself. And then module 4 is conviction voting, which and each one we trimmed it down to just the most important parameters, and all parameters are configurable in the advanced settings, which isn't done yet. So this is but it's pretty much there in the back end. And the first thing is to so designing this is very difficult. One thing that we found is that no one wants to read. And that's okay. No one wants to read. But when designing this system, you will be a better designer if you do read. If you actually know what you're going into, like all 4 modules, have like a basic understanding of all 4 modules before you start playing with one. Now, it's not necessarily the fun way though. Maybe it's better to just go play and then learn later. That's also fine if you want. But to speed things up, I really think everyone will benefit most from actually reading each one of these blog posts, right? It's just like, look, it's super short. And the best place to read it is actually here. So I'll repost this link here. But what's great about this Google Doc is that if you read it here and there's anything you don't understand, you can just make a comment. So I'll post this in the params right here. So this is the learn module, and I'm hoping that we can throw in some music and read this through. And then I'm going to give just like maybe 4 songs, maybe a song for each one. And because they're not that long, but just it's worth reading it before we dive into the tooling. So yeah, let's throw on some music and just like check out what we're doing, what we're up to. Let's see. And by the way, if you don't know Chip, our friend Chip, oh, where'd Chip go? Oh, no sources. Thank you. So if Chip is too loud, you can turn Chip down by right-clicking it, lowering the volume, or turn it off completely.
So I can see that there's a lot of comments in there, mostly from Griff and Lauren. Um, And I'm just wondering, like, what the utility is. Like, does anybody who doesn't understand this actually have any questions, or are we just kind of going over the same stuff that we've had written for months by people who already know what this is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead,
You know what
Steph.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, for me, like, I just read it before all the comments, and for me, it was easy to understand. Like, it was well explained. So, yeah, for me, it's, I mean, I didn't add any comment because I just feel like, I feel like what was there, it was nice, honestly. So, good job.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, what's the most effective use of our time right now? Because we've
Yeah.
had this
Well,
text up, we've had it for weeks. We've like, send me a
maybe
DM, add
maybe we
comments.
maybe we just pass it around, do a quick round. Was there anything that you didn't understand or that didn't quite make sense? Livia?
I actually appreciate having this time to read something because I feel like it's almost impossible sometimes. There's so much material out there, and then this became like a focused session to read attentively and be able to answer questions at a time. So for me, it has been useful this time.
And is there anything in the doc that could be better explained or anything?
It made a lot of sense to me.
That's great. Maybe Christopher, did you have any? Well, Christopher, you just came in. You probably didn't even know we were reading this doc.
No, I thought maybe you were doing a demo of the UI or something. So I basically just came for the drinks.
Nice.
Can I jump in? So yeah, I'm sorry, I have some parental duties, so I'm not full-time watching what's going on, and I'm not in the doc. But I had a really good sync with Michael today, MS today, and one of the things that we talked about was how important it is for fresh eyes to see this, because the people who are going to be looking at this doc are not necessarily me or Livia or you, or it's people who are going to maybe see this for the first time. So it's even hard for me to look at this with fresh eyes, actually, even though I haven't seen this doc before. My eyes are like, I'm so deep in the weeds with the TEC and parameters. So I really think MS and people who are seeing this for the first time are really going to be the most helpful in giving us that evaluation of what makes sense and what doesn't.
Well, then I think she's passing it to you, MS. Was there anything in that doc that didn't make much sense?
So it at face value, reading through it made sense to me. I'm obviously familiar with reading some of the blog posts on the augmented bonding curve, so I don't want to put too much time there. The thought makes complete sense to me, and then really I want to sit with both Tau voting and conviction voting again. One of my personal goals is that I am going to go through the learning module early tonight or early tomorrow morning with fresh eyes too. But at face value, it actually cleared up even some gray areas that maybe I didn't realize were in the back of my mind.
And Wonka, do you have any comments on it?
Yeah, I think I understand, but I really want to see, because maybe like while seeing I can complement the image that I have in my mind. So yeah, I think I understand, but I am really eager to interact with the tool.
Perfect. Yeah, I know. Everyone wants to play with the tool. Toys. Of course. And I'm going to skip Nuggin and Vitor because I think you guys are like Tam. We're too in the weeds. So let's dive in. So here are the learning modules. The link, by the way, is in the agenda doc here. We're at step 2, play with the params. So now the param party really can begin. So once you get through this, we can prepare for launch. Yeah, and just start playing, and let's see what comes up, and we'll have a feedback round at the end, and hopefully everyone can we'll start the feedback round. Let's see. We'll start the feedback round at about 45 minutes, in about 15 minutes. So see if you can propose a set of parameters fast. I know it's not as fun this way, but don't worry. These first parameter proposals don't really count. They're all going into this test GitHub thing. So the GitHub issues aren't fully formed yet, but yeah. So go ahead and play, and then we'll have a feedback round at the end. Feel free to collect your thoughts and notes, and if you do come across any issues, maybe just take it down as a note, and you can make the issue later. But I would like to make sure that you don't get bogged down making issues in this 15 minutes. Actually, just keep playing with the app and make sure you have time to play with each module.
Are we still calling something dandelion?
Well, Dandelion is still there, but now it's DAO. Dandelion has evolved into DAO voting.
Yeah, I mean the name is not dandelion anywhere anymore, right?
No, it wouldn't be.
Because in step 3 is legacy dandelion voting settings.
Where does it say Dandelion?
On,
You're
on
still in the
step
learn
3?
module.
Yeah, the learn module, step 3.
Right, yeah. So here it says, I can see exactly what you're talking about. It says, you decide legacy dandelion voting settings. And so that part seems unclear.
No, I mean, you should just be tau voting, right?
No, because we're talking about the same settings that we're importing from dandelion voting. So minimum quorum, support required, all that stuff that we use to do the hatch vote. We have those same settings plus more features.
Confusing to me though. Why is the name there?
That's what I'm looking for. Let's change it.
Hell yeah.
What would you guys think it's a good number for yeah, the reserve pool? Like what would happen if we have a very low reserve pool actually?
I think that buys and sells would become more reactive on the price because there's less tokens actually backing the ABC.
But in the long
The
term,
price would fluctuate more.
what happen if a lot of people is buying, even if we start with a low reserve and a lot of people is putting money in?
Well, then it would go up, and then the reserve balance would stable out.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not as clean as that because it also depends on what you set the opening price as. So it's, yeah. But you can see that the commons tribute directly affects the reserve ratio. And the reserve ratio is like the higher the reserve ratio, the more stable everything is. The less it's reactive, the less volatile the token is, which has its pros and its cons.
Thanks, Griff.
Does the token thaw number is like, for example, the default is 100, so it would take 100 to be completely liquid, and then within those 100 weeks, there would be like every week the same amount becoming more and more liquid.
Yes, so it would take 100 weeks after the token freeze. And then, yeah, it's linear. So you can kind of see from the price floor chart that it's just like every week would be the same. Yeah.
But then since they work in combination, then by that it would be if the token freeze was 52 weeks and the token thaw was 100, it would be 152 weeks until 100% of the tokens would become liquid.
And what's the goal? Choosing a bullish or bearish scenario?
So that's for experiencing the bonding curve. So when it changes the buys and sells.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you see what would happen if somebody sells a lot or somebody buys a lot, and you can get an idea.
Okay, understood. Thanks, guys.
And what does those two squares represent in the curve? The exit and the entry?
The squares? Oh, they're just points, buys and sell points. So it's like
The start and the end of the step. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Negan.
No, it's just the start and the end of the step. So you can for the single steps.
Okay, thanks.
Looking at this here, and maybe Nugget has a better idea, but on this bonding curve thing, we never implemented the ability to zoom. Huh?
Sorry?
Because right now, all these little buys, they just turn up as like a tiny little line that shows up.
Yeah.
It's just this little tiny thing, you want to buy $10 of TEC, it's like nothing.
Nugget might have mentioned this 2 months ago.
Yeah, we have the zoom is like, actually I think the backend has it implemented. So maybe it's relatively easy for the front end to build that in. We could check with Pedro and stuff, because I think the function is there, and I think I can send the zoomed in data actually. That would be something good to try.
The question is like as is with like a tiny little line, like does it make sense what it's trying to convey to anybody?
I'm just looking into it, and I mean, if I understood it correctly, so the bigger the number, the better, because you see better how the economy will evolve with more money. But I could be wrong. Yeah. So what's the real goal with the zoom?
The goal would be just to show not just a line, but see more of the area below, like a bigger step. So it just isn't just a line, but you see it a bit better. Since you have a lot of the bonding curve which isn't getting any action, so you kind of zoom in on the interesting part.
Oh, and okay. No, I was, yeah, I was talking. Yeah, yeah, because every time I click on the reserve balance, like the bonding curve zoom in or out, like the numbers, the graph, not yeah. Like if you look on graph screen now, he put 500k. Then the graph, the axis and yeah, axis side it's zoom in the bigger numbers, but it actually yeah, but actually, what is it changing? Oh, does it change anything? Like, I think the reserve balance is going to be determined by the other parameters I choose, right? Like the commons tribute and the opening price.
Good
Yeah.
point. Maybe they should say starting reserve balance, because that's what it really is.
Or scenario reserve balance. Yes, yes, because the actual hedge funding is fixed. Is the funding we got. So you're kind of defining the curve above using the real hedge data, and then this reserve balance is just for the scenario you're looking at. So see if there's little money there or if there's more money there, but it doesn't change the curve in itself.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Thank
is
you.
it just changes the table above below, right?
Yeah. The steps happen starting at the same 3 steps happen, but starting at launch or starting at 100K or starting at 500K or starting at 5 million. And you can see like how the slippage changes, and the experience of the curve at these different holding levels.
Yeah, and this is important to talk because this is not temporal, right? So this is like the reserve balance by price. So like this can happen different, like the same movements in the chart can happen in different periods. So you can have different periods of different reserve balances in which like you have a 100k reserve balance or like a million or three. So it's nice to see different scenarios in which like they both can happen.
One thing is not clear to me. Like, if we only have 1.5 million, can we put in the launch 5 million? It's impossible, right? In the reserve balance.
Well, no. So this is not the starting point. We can, but this is like experiencing the bonding curve, not at launch.
Okay.
If you want to experience that at launch, it's here. But if a lot of people buy TC tokens, then yeah, it's really easy to get 1.5 million.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was not understanding. This is only just to see how it will evolve in the future, like the parameters I choose.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
So like, if you notice that I changed the reserve balance, but the reserve ratio stays the same because I'm not changing parameters.
Okay.
To change the actual reserve balance is changing the commons tribute.
You're basically changing when you find the reserve balance, you're defining like the point in the x-axis that you're starting.
Okay.
How would delegating voting work? If I want to delegate vote to someone, they receive a notification or something?
So actually, with Giveth, what we're suggesting, and it hasn't been implemented in OneHive yet, but we're suggesting that So to vote in conviction voting or in DAO voting, you're going to have to stake your tokens. And so we are suggesting that when people stake their tokens, that there's an option to delegate at that point. But that front end hasn't actually been implemented or designed as far as I know. So at the beginning, it's like delegation in theory.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, we're on the bleeding edge here, guys. We're on the bleeding edge.
But would there be any reason why the delegating voting period should be smaller than the vote duration?
Delegated voting period is the time that the delegates have to vote for you. So delegates have to vote within that time period. If they don't, they can only vote for themselves. They can't vote for you. And that way you have 2 days, or then that way you have the time difference between delegated voting period and vote duration to review your delegate and their choice. And so you can go and look and say, like, how did my delegate vote? And then you're like, what? They voted for that? No way. And then you can actually change your signal. So you would have the 2 days to change your vote.
So you can undelegate?
That would be a different choice. So that would be you can absolutely undelegate. But let's call delegate Dan, right? And voter Victoria. Victoria delegates to Dan. Dan votes poorly. And Victoria's like, what? That's dumb. I still like you. I like your opinion, Dan, on most things, but this one, you're wrong. Well, Dan had to vote within the delegate voting period. And then Victoria has those 2 days after the delegate voting period to just disagree with Dan on that issue. That doesn't automatically undelegate, but it does make sure that her voting power goes to the choice that she chooses. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren or Mitch. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I wasn't paying enough attention, but it sounded right from my half hearing.
Probably did.
Okay. Last question about that. If somebody delegates the vote within like 2 days in the voting period already, then the delegator would have even less votes, even less time to vote. It doesn't start counting when the delegation happens.
Except for votes in Tau voting, only your delegation has to happen before the vote starts. If you delegate midway through a vote, then it works for future. That I'm sure of because I made the mini-me token, and that's just how it works. Okay, I'm gonna give a 2-minute warning. Try to submit your issue. I know most of you probably didn't get to conviction voting, didn't get very far. There's a lot of cool things to play with here. But try to submit, and then maybe we can go around and talk about what our choices were. Does anyone, maybe we could even start. Does anyone have any anything that they want to say, to suggest, not necessarily changes for the dashboard, but even just what your thoughts were about the parameter choices, and even on the political side of, I really think we should try to keep a, minimum conviction of this number or something like that. I can start. I think that we should keep a small minimum conviction because it's it will make it really hard to pass small proposals. Every proposal would need, if you look at this 5%, You know, it means that like minimum number of tokens needed to pass is like super high. It's like just to even pass ever, it's like 10% ish, 7%. Well, it's 5% of all tokens would be needed to pass, and I feel like that's just too high. I'll pass it to Vitor. Do you have any opinions on or any feedback in general on the dashboard?
No, I think just regarding that, I think not only the minimum conviction, but I think the conviction growth is as important as related to if you want to have like if you want to give more pressure to people to wait more time to your proposal to stake your tokens for longer or for short-term projects. So, for example, in this case, you have a minimum conviction of 5 days. So, like if you select like 2 weeks to 6 months, it will not change anything. But if you change your like conviction growth to like 60 days, then it will change a lot. Because then, like, if you then you change for like 1 month and not 60. Yeah, then you change for like a month and so on, and you have a huge difference. So I think this is important as well. And yeah, I think just people usually don't get much the equation work. I think it's quite important.
Do you want to pass it?
Oh yeah, I'll pass to Chris.
Sorry, I'm just a spectator today. I'll pass it to Mitch.
Yeah, just some things around just some setup here, some little like alignment things that look a bit off. And the zoom thing, now that we actually see it in action, like this line here that like nobody's probably going to really understand what it's trying to say there. But other than that, I'm stoked to see all this like finally turn into something that works from those wireframes that we started like 2-3 months ago. So like this is actually really, really cool. And I will pass it to Wonka.
Yeah, I just uploaded my proposal. I think yeah, it's very interesting to be proposing this, and maybe I would like to hear others proposal, and I will pass to Nugan.
Yeah, I also love seeing everything in action and working. I think what I learned today is that we have to explain a bit better that this reserve balance situation, because yeah, to me it was completely clear, but it's obvious that it's not that clear. So maybe do an update on that. And I'll pass to Livia, I think.
Yeah, this was so cool. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, really fun. I think it will take us, I mean, I think it feels easier because I probably don't understand fully yet. And then the more you start to understand, the more complexity it gets added. But it's nice that it's not scary to jump in for the first time. So this is huge props for everyone that worked on it. And I just tried out a proposal, like trying to play with the number 3 all around. And I think it's a good tactic to do a first proposal because I don't know, it's silly. And I pass to MS.
Thank you. Yeah, so what I like about it, I'll start with what I like, and then I'll go into the two variables that are always stuck with me when I consider it. I like how attractive it is to begin, especially for people who are kind of new to it. And so me encountering it the first time, I could really sit with this for a while and like really fine tune it and play around, which is what I anticipate will happen. And then the two, it's just variables that always come up to me, because I know Griff, you had asked kind of like more around the ecosystem itself. The let me start with the first one here. So the thaw period is something I'm always interested in, because what's a valuable amount of time to take the training wheels off and really let the ecosystem become self-sufficient, but also provide enough of a healthy guardrail that it doesn't just tank or dump immediately too, right? And then the other one that I'm always really keen on is actually the execution delay in voting. I always lean to a little bit longer of an execution delay, because you have to kind of live with that decision, so you won't get rapid fire proposals. So you're going to get it and then put it out into the ethos a little bit later. But yeah, those are the two that really stick with me. And then obviously, like I said, just playing and fine tuning with everything else. I will throw it over to Tam.
I have to admit that I've been a little distracted during this call, but I have gotten to the point of submitting a proposal. And I mean, Marco's not here, but amazing designs. It's visually stunning. And that's really something that we could say for it. And I feel like it's actually really, it's not 100% clear. And I feel like there could be some more clarity around with the rollover question marks that explain the pieces. And linking to an area where you could get more information. It feels to me like when I'm rolling over those question marks, I'm like, I don't understand what the question mark just told me. How do I find
Click
out
the
more? And
confused
that's
button. Click it.
if I click the button.
Oh,
No, if I click the question mark, it's not happening. Oh, did it work for you?
No, he's saying click confused at the bottom.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I got it.
But that's great
Who
feedback.
reads?
So maybe you would prefer that when you click the question mark that it goes to the forum posts.
I mean, maybe there's a rollover, but then an option to go deeper into that. I did see the confused, but to be honest, I didn't intuitively click on the confused when I was confused. That could be like my personal issue.
I think maybe you could say go to learn module, and that would be more helpful. Because anyway, I'll let Tam finish, then I have feedback.
Cool. Okay, cool. I think the vision, like just being able to see this visually, is just so much more powerful than reading it on the forum. So I really love the direction this is going, and I can't give enough kudos to the people who have made this happen. And I'll pass to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Tam. Yeah, I think if we changed confused to go to learn module, that would be helpful. Because also I clicked on confused, especially in the bonding curve one, because I wanted confused to explain to me what the market scenario, what is this thing was explaining. Like it was like confused, and the thing that was confusing is like, what are all these steps? I mean, I know what they are, but that's to me the confusing part. It's like after getting through these like calculator things and you're clicking numbers and it's changing the graph and you're like, what's happening? And then you click confused and you're like, oh no, I'm at the learn module. That's not where I wanted to go. And that was the feeling I had. So maybe we change that to like learn module and then have like a different thing explaining like these steps. And then also in the feedback that everyone was giving, I was just thinking like in the learn modules, we should put little screenshots of the config things, because people are like, oh, it's hard to visualize like what we're actually going to be looking at. And like rather than having it a surprise, it can be like in the learn module looking at like what you're going to be learning as well. I should love your eye roll, but Livia likes it. Yeah, and I have a question, because I guess I wasn't paying attention when this was happening, but like the default numbers that are in there, like the numbers that are like auto-generated, are those just like somewhere happy medium numbers of like the suggested range, or what are those numbers?
I picked them
because I like them. I'm like, oh no, this is almost what I would choose. Okay.
Yeah, that is
all right.
That's an interesting point though, because you do have this propensity to almost have like the same idea as survey bias, where the pre-filled options you kind of like lean towards. So that
Yeah.
is something interesting.
The power of defaults is real, and but what's cool is once we have a few scenarios, then the default expectation is that you are starting with someone else's design. So like we have to start with a first design, but eventually, and I'll be honest, yeah, I'm like, let's put 100 weeks for thaw, because like I want people to start with a longer opinion for thaw. Power of defaults is real, and there's a nice forum post about it, because there's even stronger defaults in the advanced tab that's hidden from people. But the expected use case is that you're starting from someone else's proposal.
Griff,
Yeah.
the advanced tab is not letting me change the options. I don't know if it's just me or
I don't even
maybe.
think there is no advanced tab yet, right?
Oh, yeah,
You're at the submit tab,
okay.
I think.
No, he's at the advanced tab. It doesn't
Yeah,
let
like
you change the
it's
input.
static right
It's there?
now. Like you can see there, but it
Oh,
is
I didn't
static.
see that.
That was what I was talking. Like if you go to mid, that was 500 rows in.
Nice.
That cannot be changed.
Yeah,
They
like
will be.
you can play with them, but they will not work. Then they're not integrated yet.
They will be. We're just not there. I didn't even know this was added. This was added last night, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can even change the name.
I didn't mean to disrupt you guys. Sorry.
No, it's yeah.
Just on the learning module side, one thing I think would be cool, but this is more of like a progressive enhancement, is not a mandatory quiz, but it's like if you want to do a self-assessed quiz on some of the key things that you went over from each of the sections, it would be good. It's almost a way for me to like validate before going in and playing with the different parameters that I'm confident I know what I'm going to be looking at or interacting with.
That would be fun.
Have-
A little test.
Thank you all. Have to go. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Thanks, Levi.
I'll leave it.
I
Sorry.
just-
Yep.
Yeah, I wanna choose something quickly. I almost resonate a lot with Levi, and it's very nice. Like it feels easy to enter. But one thing that frustrated me for a 2 seconds, I was frustrated because I click on the confuse and it sent me to the learn mode, and then all my parameters were gone. Like imagine like someone like thinking very detailed and this and then I mean it's not a big deal honestly, but yeah, I just had like 2 seconds of frustration, and I don't know, maybe we wouldn't want.
Ideally, the original way that was supposed to be implemented is supposed to open the Learn module in a new tab, not the current tab.
Yeah.
So somehow in the development that got lost. So hopefully that'll answer your frustration.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch.
Hey Vitor, is there a plan on making parameter choices more persistent, like local storage or something?
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were like thinking if we should implement this or not. Like, right now it's not implemented, but we can do like it's just exactly the same as we did with the simulator. So like even if we do one time, then you go back there and you have like the default parameters. We can do that.
Thank you, Zep. Nugget, I believe you're last, right?
No, I already went.
Okay. But you had a comment?
Yeah, no, I just said that we have to kind of make it clear that it maybe explain a bit better the whole scenario stuff with the reserve balance and such, because I think maybe that's confusing for people who are not us and have been working on it for weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all.